And we begin with the California GOP convention.
10 moments in the Bay Area today as police and protesters clash outside the state GOP convention, where Donald Trump spoke this afternoon. A face-off started even before Trump arrived just after noon today and then continued after he left.
Arriving at today's event wasn't easy for Trump. Protesters blocked the main entrance to the hotel, so his security detail drove past the protesters, did a U-turn on the 101, squeezed through a break in the concrete barriers, and then Trump and his team walked through a ditch and up a hill to the back entrance of the hotel.
Well, it seems where Donald Trump goes, protesters seem to follow.
And the drama was supposed to be confined inside the California Republican convention halls. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan live at Burlingame at the convention with a look at Donald Trump's response to all of this. Dave?
Well, you know, we just wrapped up with John Kasich, who was speaking to a very enthusiastic crowd here. I've got to say, he did have his supporters out today, although he's not doing well in the Republican polls. He was talking about his fiscal conservative and his plans for fixing America's problems. He followed Donald Trump, who got a very enthusiastic reaction earlier today in a lunchtime speech that he gave. But the protesters against him outside were pretty enthusiastic, too. So the story with Trump was how difficult it was for him to get here. When protesters scuffled with police and blocked the entrance to the hotel in Burlingame where Donald Trump was scheduled to speak at midday, the motorcade carrying the leading Republican presidential candidate pulled off onto the shoulder of the nearby 101 freeway. Trump and his entourage jumped out of the cars, walked off the freeway, climbed up a hilly strip of grass, and rushed into a rear hotel entrance. Moments later, he joked about it in a speech to the California Republican convention.
That was not the easiest entrance I've ever made. My wife called. She said, there are helicopters following you, and we did, and then we went under a fence and through a fence, and oh, boy, I felt like I was crossing the border, actually. You know, it's true. I was crossing the border, but I got here.
Outside, the protesters rushed the police and tried to force their way into the hotel. The police pushed back and declared a tactical emergency. One Trump supporter who challenged the protesters was pummeled in return. Trump told the GOP convention delegates it's time for unity in the party, but indicated he could win without unity if necessary, a not too subtle hint that they need him more than he needs them.
Now, with that being said, would I win? Can I win without it? I think so, to be honest. I think so, because they're going to vote for me.
But some Republicans, like political consultant Rob Stutzman, are determined to stop Trump here in California.
If Trump gets the nomination, our big fear is what he does to Republicans all the way down the ballot. When you've got 20% of Republicans telling pollsters right now, there is no way I'm voting for that guy, we get worried they don't come vote and they stay home. And that means we lose state assembly, state senate, congressional seats, not just in California, but all across the country.
Undecided voter Breed Mannix says she came to see Trump in person and remains undecided about who she'll vote for, although she liked what she heard.
I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I don't know if it's going to be a Republican or a Democrat. I'm not sure.
Wow, so you're really up in the air.
Yeah, I really am up in the air, but I did want to come and see him, and I was impressed.
The odd man out in this race so far is Ohio Governor John Kasich, who warned against a bitter and divided party riven by controversy and protests.
When you live on the negative side, when you feed people's anger, do you see what happened here today? Do the Republicans actually think that they can win an election by scaring every Hispanic in this country to death? Scaring them to the point where they're afraid their families are going to be torn apart and disrupted? Do you have any idea what those folks are going to do in a general election? How about our friends in the African American community? How do they feel about this stuff, about this division and separation?
Well, you can see the ballroom here is emptying out quickly after John Kasich's speech. Tomorrow will be Cruz Day here at the California Republican Convention. Both Ted Cruz and Carly Fiorina, his assigned running mate, will be speaking. He in the afternoon and she at night. So it will be a Ted Cruz Day for real. Reporting from Burlingame, Dave Bryan. Jeff. Back to you.
You know, a lot of natural candidates there today, but what are you hearing about possible protests against state candidates in California, Dave?
Well, the protests here have been entirely directed at Donald Trump, Trump and only Trump. Now, you know, there's a lot of worry here at the convention among Republicans that the down ballot, the other Republican candidates will pay the price if, in fact, Trump gets the nomination and tanks, you know, in the campaign in November, that a lot of the Senate candidate, the House candidates, the statewide candidates, they could pay the price because there might be a huge Democratic turnout. That's one of the arguments that his opponents are using against Trump in this campaign. But we haven't seen any demonstrations here in California, or for that matter in other parts of the country, against other Republicans.